Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to a new edition of our show titled Speak of Africa. Brothers and sisters, we have a great show for you today. In fact, we really appreciate the responses we got with our last show, and we continue to thank you for viewing this show and subscribing. Some of you have not subscribed yet. We're asking you to subscribe and to share the show with most of your friends. For the show of today, we're going to look at the issue of African revolution, okay? Revolution, because we need change in Africa in order to create new opportunities for our people. This week, in fact tomorrow, over 47 leaders of Africa are traveling to Russia for a summit in Sochi. Sochi is one of those resort towns in Russia. So Putin invited them, and he's telling them, he's selling this summit with the idea that, okay, no political strings attached, which means Russia will help you. Russia is not going to help you the way America will help you. There will be no strings attached, such as human rights. Even if you don't really respect human rights, Russia will not care about it. Why? Because Putin is repositioning himself for conquering Africa again. There is some form of scramble for Africa. We've said this in our past shows, that Russia is repositioning herself to reconquer Africa. We used to have the Cold War. The Soviet Union lost the Cold War, and most of the satellite states that used to be part of the Soviet Union left. Some of them have even joined NATO, and Russia is not really happy about it. But the reality is, Russia could not keep the Soviet bloc together, so it had to break into pieces. Today, Vladimir Putin still has dreams of the glorious past of Russia. So he wants to make Russia again into a big country. But the truth is, Russia does not really have what it takes to really be a big empire. Russia has gifted scientists and gifted people, but in terms of resources, Russia is not really a superpower. Okay? They've lost everything. What used to make Russia a superpower is those satellite states that were part of the Soviet Union. Now that most of them are gone, Russia does not have a whole lot to offer. So when Africans are traveling to Moscow, in fact, even our Nigerian president, Muhammadu Buhari, he's also one of those traveling to Russia to attend the summit in Sochi. When we look at it, why are African leaders really going to Sochi? It's really foolish, because you're going there thinking that they're going to give you money for nothing. That's not true. Russia is trying to reassert herself on the world stage, and Russia wants to use Africa as the template. So if you allow Russia to use you, then you're just dumb, because you cannot really build your country by depending on largesse from Russia. What Russia would do is, Russia will offer you arms to kill your people. And that's about it. Russia will not really help you develop your country. Already, Russia is challenging France in the Central African Republic. How has that been? It's just been more and more chaos. What has Russia really done in Central African Republic that is positive? Not much. Instead, the fighting has created even more chaos. Russia has a lot of secret armies. They're just interested in harnessing all the resources of Central African Republic. While the people are dying, they are collecting the natural resources and taking them to their country. So this is not really like a fair trade. When you want trade, you want some kind of equality or parity. But it doesn't exist in this instance, because Russia just wants most of these resources to fuel their own economy. So they don't really care what happens to you. So we don't really think Russia is doing anything better than what China has been doing in the past. In fact, China even has more resources even than Russia. China even has more to offer than Russia. So if you are going to Russia thinking that you're going to get a whole lot from Vladimir Putin, it's just a pipe dream. And why do African leaders always think that they have to borrow or get something for nothing? This is a Santa Claus way of thinking. Most of these powers build their countries on their own by using self-reliance. They decided to change. First, there was the American Revolution. That's how America built their country. In fact, I know how America was built, and I'm willing to share this knowledge with other Africans so that we can build the United States of Africa. Because I understand all the intricacies, the way America was built. The fight with Britain, I understand all the details, the American War of Independence. So we need to really have our own African War of Independence so that we can really push these colonial powers at bay, okay? You look at last week, we put a lot of emphasis on French colonialism, neo-colonialism in Africa. And you guys responded positively. And somebody was asking, why are we spending so much time talking about France's neo-colonialism in Africa instead of looking for solutions? In fact, if we use a scientific method, before we start looking for solutions, we are just like a patient. When you have a problem, you have to follow the scientific method, which involves observation, classification, and analysis. Before you start analyzing a disease, you need to understand the symptoms. Okay, you need to understand the chief complaint. You don't just put a patient in the theater and start operating on them without knowing what is really wrong with this patient. So which is why we start from the very beginning to make our people understand the diagnosis. The diagnosis is we are poor because we are allowing foreigners to take our resources for nothing. Okay? We have resources, we need to know how to bargain better. We need to know how to make better deals. If we want to make Africa great again, we need to really revolutionize with our interaction with other countries of the world. If we don't do this, Africa will remain behind forever. So which is why we're looking at this Russian summit as an opportunity to educate our people that borrowing is not a way to prosperity. No country in the world has ever developed by borrowing a way to prosperity. People always engage in self-reliance. America did the same thing. Russia did the same thing. Even France. Even though they started taking stuff from other African countries, 440 billion a year, euros a year from African countries. We even have a video from Mali. You can even watch it. The people of Mali are just very, very disgruntled with France because they don't just like what France is doing in their country and they want France to get out. So this time we have even this video which will show you why the people of Mali are angry. They are talking. You can even see the colors of the French flag which are fluttering all over the place. They want France to get out of their country because they are tired. They've had it up to here with France. France, get away. France, get away.
Macron, le gouvernement français, le dirigeant.
And of course, what France is doing is not really limited to Mali. You look at even in Cameroon, AMBAZONIA is feeling the effect of this French neo-colonialism. So for those who don't really understand, so before you start solving a problem, you need to really understand what is really wrong. So the diagnosis, probably to help you start understanding this diagnosis, I'm going to share a video sent to us by one of our viewers, which discusses what the French Colonial Pact is all about. So this video, in summary, presents everything with a lot of statistics. Watch it for a minute.
In the 1950s and 60s, France decided the French colonies of Africa to become independent. Although the Paris government accepted formal declarations of independence, it called on African countries to sign a so-called Pact for the continuation of colonization. They agreed to introduce the French colonial currency FCFA franc for the French colonies in Africa, to maintain the French schools and military system, and to establish French as an official language. The CFA franc is the denomination of the common currency of 14 African countries members of the franc zone. This currency, which constitutes a brake on the emergence of these countries, was created in 1945 when France ratified the Bretton Woods agreements and proceeded to implement its first declaration of parity to the International Monetary Fund (IMF). This was called Franc of the French Colonies of Africa. Since 1961, Paris has had controls over all foreign exchange reserves of Benin, Burkina Faso, Guinea-Bissau, Côte d'Ivoire, Mali, Niger, Senegal, Togo, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Chad, Congo, Equatorial Guinea and Gabon. These 14 countries are required to 85% of their foreign exchange reserves at the Banque de France in Paris. These countries are forced into a colonial tax, a tax that is based on the idea that these countries, despite having independence, owe France for the benefits of France's previous colonial rule.
Okay, thank you for watching this short video. You can see just the way the French neocolonialism works itself out in Africa. The same formula works in all the 14 former colonies of France. All these colonies don't have any independence. What they have is the hopes of independence. The independence is just on paper, what I call flag independence. When you have flag independence, there's no way you're going to develop your country because all the resources of your country belong to France. So this is really what is really happening. Then we can also look at the other side of the coin. France was a colonial master. Britain also was a colonial master. In fact, this month of October, many African countries that gained their independence from Britain are also celebrating their independence. We've talked about AMBAZONIA. We've talked about Nigeria. Okay? We've talked about Uganda. We've talked about Zambia. Okay? All these countries became independent under British colonial rule. Okay? The French want to stay in Africa forever and take all the resources.
Life insurance money secrets of millionaires and billionaires exposed. Discover how America's rich and famous exploit these arcane tools to build fabulous wealth. Why should these big white guys have all the fun? Let Prince Ojong, the celebrity author of The Miraculous Millionaire, show you the little understood life insurance way to riches. Are you still doubting the good things that life insurance can do for you? Trust strategies, estate planning, 401k rollover, annuity contract, cash value, education funding, executive benefits, income protection, life protection, living benefits, mortgage protection, tax-free retirement? Think and grow rich with life insurance. Your amazing journey to wealth begins by calling Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131.
With the British, I'm not saying that they were a lesser evil, but I may be forced to say that. They had this Frederick Lord Lugard, who was born in India, but he became the governor of British imperialism in Africa. So he had this book that he published called The Dual Mandate. His argument is British colonialism has two objectives. One, to garner resources for Britain, and second, to help the natives of Africa. Whether Britain kept to this mandate or not is a subject for us to discuss. But you can see that in most British former colonies, these colonies tend to really operate a little bit more independently than French colonies. And in fact, you can even see France making overtures to penetrate most of these former British colonies. So France wants to get the action everywhere, even where Britain used to have a sphere of influence. France wants to get in. So when we look at France, it's the most parasitic nation on earth. And when you look at the problems we're having today in Ambazonia, because what we're seeing today in Ambazonia is a cultural revolution. The people really want to change. It's a metaphysical revolution. The people want to change their fate in life. They are tired of marginalization.
Wow. When I see I don't imagine that day. That great day where that trumpet will sound. That great day where army will be for external affairs. Oh yes. That great day where army will be for protect we. Not be for burn our houses there. That great day where police not will be for refuge. Oh yes. That great day where they not go there for children. Yes.
They want the French people also to go. And today we have a whole lot of stories breaking in Ambazonia. In fact, when you look at what is happening, Lele Lafrique, the colonial governor of Northwest, we understand his convoy was attacked, and we'll have pictures to show you. You see the green gendarmerie van with bullet holes all over the place. Some people suspected that he was dead. Others said he survived the attack. But the chief of the B, Brigade Bataillon d'Intervention Rapide, I hear the chief died in the Northwest, okay? And you could see the picture of the B guy who was killed, who was the leader, the B commander of the people who killed all our people in the Northwest zone, was killed. So you'll be surprised that the people will be jubilating to see this. Because we've said it before, war is not a solution. When people want to be free, no political leader is great to stop people from gaining their freedom. Look at Indonesia and East Timor. They got their independence. Look at Eritrea and Ethiopia. So if Mr. Paul Biya is smoking something, he needs to wake up. When people want to be free, and today we're seeing that the Ambazonians have become more deadly. Before, a lot of them were depending on den guns. But we're seeing a transition. The people are having bigger guns. I mean, war weapons. I mean, big stuff. And this is making a big impact. The guys are no longer depending on den guns. So I don't know if anybody is advising Mr. Biya. He needs to tell him the truth. Today, you have big guns in Ambazonia. And we see those guns. And we can even show you the people in action. In one of the areas, like Kembong, we were shocked when we saw pictures of some of the village guys who had run away to Nigeria. They came back to fight for their village, and they were showing big guns that they brought from Nigeria, and they are fighting.
Deixe. 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 Deixe.
And they have said they're going to be buying more and more guns. So the whole program now in Ambazonia is the people want to get more and more guns because they've realized that guns would give them respect. Almost a man. You are not a man until you can have a big gun. So that's the message. Right now, most of the Ambazonians feel like if they don't have a big gun, they are not a man. So they are like weak. So now they want to get big guns. And once they get big guns, then they have a parity with Paul Biya's colonial soldiers. And we're really afraid to say that a lot more bloodshed is going to be happening in this part of the world. When we look at December, November, December, those months are going to be bloody because these guys are going to start using their weapons. And if you are a member of B, if you love your life, don't go to Ambazonia. Defect, okay? Defect, run away. Don't fight. Because you're going to lose your life for nothing, okay? You're going to leave a family behind, and your family is going to have problems. So the message we have for the B people is defect. Don't come to Ambazonia and lose your life for nothing, because you'll be dying for nothing, and God would not even save you. Because God doesn't want you to come to Ambazonia and fight. By fighting, you are committing sins. You are satanic, and God doesn't want Satan. So you're going to die for nothing, and these guys are going to kill you just like a fly. In those days, you used to have strong weapons. The guys had nothing. But now the guys are well equipped and they know the terrain. They will dribble you. You can even look at one of the videos. The guys know how to maneuver around this terrain and they will kill you and you lose your life for no good reason. So we advise you to stay away. If you're a soldier, defect, defect, defect. Okay? If you don't defect, then you'll really be losing your life, and we hope we've given you enough warning. So this warning is sufficient. So don't go to this area, because right now the Amba guys have decided to take the war to the enemy. You've come to their territory. They've not come to your territory to attack you. You are going to their homes to attack them. So they have the right of self-defense. And now they're no longer babies. They have big guns. You may be killing innocent civilians, but these guys are there now for you. So we're warning the big guys, run away from Ambazonia. If they send you to Ambazonia, run away. Because when you look at what is happening now, even most of the colonial administrators are running away. Look at, if this can happen to the governor, what more of you, an average soldier or average administrator? So if they can almost kill the governor of the Northwest region, what about you? So think about your life. If you value your life, then don't come to AMBAZONIA and die for nothing, because it will be a wasted death, okay? Don't die for an old man such as Paul Biya. It will be a big mistake, okay? Because so many of these people, look at the body of the commander of B. It should tell you something. The guy is lying in state, and we feel sorry for his family, but he's fought a useless war. He fought a senseless war. This war is not really necessary. So we think somebody can tell Mr. Biya that stop this war, negotiate with the Anglophones to solve this problem. Fake dialogue is not going to take you anywhere, because the guys now believe that if they have guns, then they will stand toe-to-toe with you. Your soldiers may be many, but the guys are very good in asymmetrical warfare, guerrilla warfare. Even America, the greatest power on earth, was not able to win a guerrilla war in Vietnam. What more for a small colonial army like Mr. Paul Biya's? So this is a lesson you guys have to learn. AMBAZONIA revolution, AMBAZONIA Armageddon. That's what you're facing. When you go to AMBAZONIA, you're facing Armageddon. And that's what we find over there. So we're telling you to leave this place and run away. And we can tell you that we feel very, very sorry for prisoners of AMBAZONIA who are in Konengi. And some people were even saying that they wish Sisiku Ayuktabe face a firing squad. That's going to inflame the people of AMBAZONIA even some more. So don't even say stuff like that. Because when you say stuff like that, you're going to inflame the people. They're not going to be very, very happy to hear such information. Okay, we've spent some time talking about AMBAZONIA. We're going to go now to Nigeria.
Hey, yo, Shape, I thought you was going to take me to this place so I could get my taxes done. You know I'm trying to buy a new house. What's up?
Let's get it on. If you're searching for a house, call up my man Prince Ojong, the best in real estate. Take it from your guy Shape. When I say his services are the best in the states where he's born, he even take care of your tax forms, fat refunds. So come, get your business done. Consultations, financial organization, fast processing, no waiting. This man is amazing. The Prince.
Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131.
We told you before that President Muhammadu Buhari has gone to Russia, Sochi, for the summit. But we also want to share our condolence with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the leader of IPOB, which is the indigenous people of Biafra group. He was a leader after he faced some challenges with the Nigerian federal government. He ran away, and he has been away from Africa for a while now. We've seen him in surface in Israel, Britain, and so forth. He just lost his mother in Germany. We just heard that he lost his mother in Germany, and we want to condole with him. We want to express our sympathy to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So he is a freedom fighter, and we want to cheer him. In fact, listening to him during some of the interviews, he said the mother died because of some of the trauma she had experienced at the hands of the cruel Nigerian army. But we want her soul to rest in peace, and we wish Mr. Buhari can have the cool head to deal with this Biafran problem. It looks like he doesn't know what to do, and he only thinks militarization would be a solution. We don't think militarization can be a good solution, because it would only lead to more people dying. So we're telling Mr. Buhari to think, don't just use the army, because the army is not enough. So we're asking Mr. Buhari, please free Omoyele Sowore. Please free him, free him. He's a freedom fighter. He's not a criminal. By keeping him in jail, you're making his people angry. You're making enemies that you don't need. So please free Sowore, free Sowore, free Sowore. We repeat, free Sowore. Sowore must be free because he's not a criminal. Okay? Free him. We think we've really experienced a whole lot, but at the same time, we think we've really come to the end of our show. But before we end this show, we want to repeat, please try to use this show as your voice. Many of you are doing just that. You are sharing a lot with us, and we are using this content to share with other members of our small family. So continue sharing this information with us as we are doing, and you also engage us. If you look, we respond to all your comments. When you make comments, whether they're on YouTube, Facebook, we follow them up immediately, okay? And we encourage you to continue commenting. In fact, this is the goal of this show. We wanted to have a framework where we can discuss the African agenda, okay? Even the firing of Dr. Arikana Chihombori Kwe, you responded positively to that coverage, and we're really happy. And you're following us. We like your comments. So we tend to respond to these comments, and we like them. Even when we don't agree with you, we still like to disagree peacefully. Even when you don't agree with us, we still tell you you can disagree peacefully. It's okay, because we're trying to create a revolution, and now we're seeing that the revolution is happening, okay? So we encourage you to subscribe to this show, okay? Subscribe, tell your friends about the show, okay? We want to have more people watching us, more people sharing the show. We realize that you're doing just that, but we're encouraging you to do even more. You also can challenge us and ask us to do even more. So we also want you to use this show as a way to reach a lot of people, okay? If you have a business, we want you to use this show to advertise your business. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Selling a service or a product? Need buyers? Use the African Nation TV as a channel to reach many viewers. Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131. Act today.